Good afternoon, and welcome to the Capital Readiness Resource Series. My name is Samuel Wiggins, and I'm the CEO of Virginia Minority Chambers, the host of this series. We are a statewide 501c3 nonprofit organization with the mission of supporting minority chambers of commerce and the businesses that they serve. We do this through advocacy, education, and programming, such as today's webinar. So why are we focused on capital readiness? Well, because access to capital is the #1 problem faced by small and disadvantaged businesses as well as new entrepreneurs. And access is not just about knowing what sources of funding are out there for you. It's also knowing what tools you need to successfully obtain it. And in today's economic landscape, this is critical knowledge. Our webinars will introduce you to the different funding opportunities available to your business and provide experts that will show you the path to success. And speaking of experts, I'm excited to introduce today's presenters, Dr. Karen Totten-White and Mr. Terrance Rogers with the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority, a division of the Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Karen serves as a regional lending manager who assists businesses to access the capital they need to grow, create, and retain jobs. With a deep understanding of financial systems and a passion for economic development, Karen specializes in guiding first-time borrowers through the lending process with clarity and confidence. Her prior role as Assistant Vice President and Managing Officer of a community bank further underscores her commitment to fostering financial inclusion and supporting entrepreneurs at every stage of their journey. In addition to her role at VSBFA, Karen is a distinguished small business consultant, a published author, and CEO of Emerge New Unlimited, a consulting firm dedicated to empowering entrepreneurs through strategic financial planning and leadership development. Terrance is also a regional lending manager with over 20 years of experience in banking, small business lending, and entrepreneurship. In his role, Terrance supports businesses, nonprofits, economic development authorities, and banks across Central Virginia, including Richmond, Hampton Roads, and surrounding areas by connecting them with financing solutions that promote economic growth and expansion. Throughout his career, Terrance has held leadership roles in both community and retail banking, including serving as vice president, retail team leader, and operating at management level of one of the nation's largest financial institutions. His background as an entrepreneur further enhances his ability to understand and support the needs of small business owners. I mean, talk about hitting the nail on the head with our first swing, So I hope now you can understand my enthusiasm for having them as our presenters. But before I turn things over to them, let's talk about Q&A. If you have any questions during the course of this presentation, you should see a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to hit that button, type in your question, and we'll make sure they get answered after the presentation when we have our formal Q&A session. You should also see a reaction button at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to show your appreciation or show a little love as they give their presentation. Thank you, and now let's give a warm welcome to our presenters. Karen and Terrance, the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. While Terrance is getting our presentation queued up, we thank you all for taking time to spend a little bit of time with us this evening. We want to say, as far as an entrepreneur, you're doing a great thing by working on your business and not just in your business. That's really what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. So we commend you all for what you do, and thank you all for being with us to share a little bit of time with us this evening so that we can provide some value to you all.
Definitely, and we're excited to be here partnering with the Minority Chamber. Virginia Minority Chamber is just exciting to see small businesses reaching out through for various reasons, mainly for resources that we have to offer here at VSBFA, Virginia Small Business Authority. Well, how we create value. I'm not sure who all is familiar with VSBFA. We are aligned and sit right up under the Department of Small Business and Supply Diversity. We've been around for over 30 plus years serving the Virginia Commonwealth Small Business Network. Our major functions is three great things. We want to assist you guys with gaining access to capital with some direct loans. And we also can partner with your bank to help you get loans as well. And as the arcing thing is, we want to make sure that the Virginia Commonwealth is creating jobs and retaining jobs. So that's our mission. We want to help you guys create value because we really do understand that small business owners and entrepreneurs are the economic engine of Virginia.
And you might say, well, why would the state want to help us like this as an entrepreneur? Well, number one, when you're successful and your business is growing and making money, you pay your taxes, and taxes make the world go round. So yes, the Commonwealth does want to help its entrepreneurs.
Definitely. And a little quick housekeeping note. What is a small business in Virginia? Most banks and institutions all qualify you guys with the same Virginia code. So if your business fits one of these four criteria, a not-for-profit or enterprise is making funds and employing staff throughout your business, you definitely will qualify as a small business in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
So we want to make sure you're in the right place.
That's right.
If you have less than 250 employees in your business, put a 1 in the chat. If you have less than 250 employees, put a 1 in the chat because we want to make sure we know who our audience is with us today.
That's right. And not-for-profits. Let us know if you're a not-for-profit as well, because we want to support not-for-profit businesses in Virginia. On a larger scale, we know everyone on the call could be in any footprint in the Commonwealth of Virginia right now. Just to give you some geographical explanation, me and Karen, we actually are housed right here in Richmond, Virginia, and we cover that lime green territory, large territory, but we get out and we serve the community the best way we can. We also have some counterparts that cover other corners of Virginia. You notice at the top blue section, if anyone's in Northern Virginia, we have a representative that's dedicated to you guys. His name is Donald Jekubek. He covers Northern Virginia. And out in Southwest Virginia, we have Linda Tackett that covers Southwest Virginia. Now, that doesn't mean you can't still reach out to me and Karen in Central Virginia to help you guys in those corridors of Virginia, but we'll let you guys see the geographical footprint that we do have someone that's dedicated to your business in your side of Virginia. So today, what we want to do is high level talk about our credit support programs and our direct loan support programs. We have variations of them, and we want to give you guys just some insight to what we've already been doing for small businesses, and that you guys can take the same advantages as they have.
And just to clarify a definition so that we're all on the same page as we go forward. When we say a credit support, that means we partner with your bank, with your lender, because we are not in competition with banks. We're here to support their mission as well as support yours. And when we talk about a direct loan, that means the loan would be between us and you as the borrower, as the entrepreneur, you would pay us directly. So that's a little bit of a definition between the credit support, the bank, and the direct loans.
Definitely. That being said, we're going to jump in and quantify and define a little bit more clarity around what the credit support program looks like and how you guys can benefit and how you guys can actually, I call it taking us to your bank and to your banker. One of our newest programs, I would say, is our SSBCI 2.0 cash collateral program. And what does that mean to you guys? Again, with the credit support program, how Karen just defined it, it's a credit enhancement opportunity where the bank is looking at a deal and they say, hey, I like this business. It's very strong, but it's a mitigating, which means there's some risk factors involved that the bank really can't get over the hump with. They really can't appetize that and chew on it a little bit. So they reach out to Karen or myself, and we will partner with them and discuss the loan and discuss what's the appropriate program that we can match that loan with to help them get comfortable with their deal. They like it, but once we get involved, of course, they're going to love it because here we are at VSBFA, the state saying we can support the deficit that they may see in the deal, well, any issues they may have, any mitigating factors. Case in point, with a cash collateral, the loan may not have enough collateral, because as we all know, collateral really supports a loan, all right? We don't want your collateral. The bank doesn't want your collateral, right? Whether it's your house or a building, we want to support it, but it may be some, I would say, value that's not appropriated in it. So here we are with our SSBCI 2.0 cash collateral program where we can support you and open up an account at the bank and put their cash collateral there to help support that loan request. And we definitely have some illustrations that help it coming all full circle. And we're going to show you guys some illustrations of how we supported particular deals. But our cash collateral program has been very, very successful. Another one, still standing on the fringe of credit support programs that we utilize at the bank, is our Capital Connect program. Now, Capital Connect program is very, very unique. It's a situation where it's a direct loan. Again, a bank will reach out to us and they have a loan that they want a partnership, some collaboration with this particular credit request. So they reach out to Karen or myself and we discuss that deal and we look and see, well, they say, Terrance, you know what? We would love for you guys to take a portion of this deal because, again, risk factors may be in place there. So with our Capital Connect program, we're able to do a direct loan and offer you guys a 3% fixed rate. Again, Karen mentioned before, we don't want to compete with banks, we want to
Right.
partner with banks.
Right.
But with this 3% fixed rate to you as a borrower, that's great. And also you will notice with both of those programs, we're currently waiving all our fees. So when a credit request comes to us, we're going to look at it and talk to your banker about the deal, flush out some concerns, make them feel more comfortable with it. And then we will appropriately place that deal in the right program that can serve you guys the best.
Mhm.
And as I mentioned, we're going to jump to some illustrations to kind of get you guys a broader view of what these deals look like.
And as Terrance is moving forward to show you the illustrations, he's going to talk about some deals that we have successfully done. He was mentioning fees and interest rates. So just so you'll know, it's called the cost of doing business because sometimes, people will reach out and they will say, well, no, I don't want to go to the bank because the rate is too high. What is high? What, if your credit is where it should be and you can qualify for the loan, get the loan, okay?
That's right.
Because as an entrepreneur, guess what? Interest can be written off on your taxes. Now, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper, but you need to talk to your CPA, your bookkeeper, or your accountant. So always remember, there are going to be fees, what is called the cost of doing business, with all entrepreneurs.
That's right. And these two quick illustrations, just to kind of know, some of you guys may feel in this type of the same scenario and may be different. But Somebody Auto Glass, basically, they started their business in that location, as you see the illustration of that building. Well, they had been leasing it for 10, 15 years, I think it was. And it came to a time where the lease agreement was up. They were in a situation like, you know what? We would love to buy the building. So they reached out to their banker at their bank and wanted to look at and explore our options to buy the building. The bank in turn reached out to us and say, Terrance, I have this opportunity right here. We would love to get you guys involved with it. And so we use our Capital Connect program. We partner where we did 40% of the lending came from us, 50% of the lending came from the bank, and of course the borrower put in 10% injection.
They did what? They put in what?
They put in 10% injection.
Okay.
So that means your hardworking capital will also help you guys be successful too when it comes to some lending, because we will require you guys to have some skin in the game, as we will call it. But it's a minimum amount. 10% is not a whole lot.
That's not.
In the grand scheme of things, and it really helped this business acquire this building. Bilingual Kids. Bilingual Kids is an actual language emerging, almost like a child care facility, actually in Henrico County. And this lady, she was looking to actually buy another building, another location. She was growing, she was expanding, and she was looking to buy another commercial property. The bank reached out again and wanted to partner with doing that. And not only were we able to partner with that, we also, down the line, Karen would speak to it in a little bit about another program that we do help with child care facilities. So this particular business is going to take advantage of not only our Capital Connect program, but another program that we have as well that we can help small business. So if you was listening a little bit, you can take advantage of multiple programs simultaneously. So keep that in mind when you're looking at accessing capital with VSBFA.
And also, we're going to talk about the importance of having a relationship with your lender. We are straight lenders, but you want to have a relationship with your bank. It's just extremely important to have a relationship with your bank. So this is a loan guarantee program, and I'm going to explain it on what I call layman terms, and then Terrance is going to explain it at another level. Okay, let's say Susie. Susie has a business and she wants to go to her banker to make a loan, and her banker's name is Benny. So when Susie walks into Benny the banker, she wants to borrow $500,000. But Benny says, well, you know what? Maybe we will do 3. We're not comfortable with doing 5. Then you know what? You, Susie, or Benny the banker is going to reach out to us and ask to use our credit enhancement, our loan guarantee program. And we will support that loan with up to 75%. Now, here's the layman terms. We're actually going to co-sign with Susie. Our agency will co-sign with Susie on that loan to guarantee that if something goes awry, we will provide the bank with up to 75% of what the balance is on the loan at that time. That is a wonderful program. Hence again, that's why it's important to have a relationship with your banker. a relationship.
Right, it's just as simple as that. There's no need to add anything to that. Just keep in mind, these are credit support programs that are garnered through the bank. And again, if your bank is not familiar with our programs, I mentioned before, you can invite me and introduce me to your bank, and we can have a high-level discussion about our programs and how they fit. Because keep in mind, the bank wants to do the loan.
Yes, they do.
They want to do the loan. And what we're here to do is help them do the loan as far as making the mitigating risk factors come down a little bit.
Yes.
Every deal has some risk involved. As we all know, we operate in the risk, we operate in that space very fluently and very effectively with the bank. So again, this is one of our credit enhancement support programs that the bank will look at and make a choice if this one fits or our other programs fits to get a yes to your credit request. Cash collateral, again, we do have two forms of a cash collateral program. This is more of a grandfather program that we still have out there. Again, it depends on the bank's choice of what program is going to fit that particular deal the best. But we do have an additional cash collateral program that works very similar to the first one I mentioned as well. So keep in mind, and the banks will keep in mind, we have multiple cash collateral programs.
Okay, these are two of the successful deals that we have done with these credit enhancement programs. This loan guarantee was mine. I didn't even know what a huddle house was. I'm familiar with a Waffle House, but here's the deal. The banker reached out to me with this deal and said, hey, they are purchasing the business. Now stick with me. The business and not the building. And as former bankers, we know that bankers like real estate. Now listen, not that they want your house, your car, they certainly don't want your children, but they just feel more comfortable when they have some real estate. So this was a $1 million purchase. The borrower had 200,000 to put down. The bank was lending them 800,000, and we provided the loan guarantee credit support for 600,000. So that's how we supported that deal, that they could purchase the business without purchasing the building.
Right. And the other illustration we have right in front of you is with the cash collateral program. This Colonial Iron Gym was looking to expand and grow, and it was trying to purchase some more gym equipment. And I don't know if there's any gym owners out there, but I do know that doing this deal, gym equipment is very, very expensive. But also, sometimes, it's a risk factor that the bank would take us and say, what are we going to really do with gym equipment if we had to do something with gym equipment? Karen already said they do not want the collateral, but we want to enhance the collateral to make it more appetizing for the bank to want to lend on that particular equipment. So, of course, they reached out to us and we was able to improve the equipment collateral position by injecting our cash collateral program to help them get to the finish line. So again, it's an array of options that we have at our disposal when we're working one-on-one with your bank to make it the best determination of which program is needed. Do you need a 75% loan guarantee, or do you need a 40% cash collateral program? Either one of them will work. Scenario, case by case, would be determined from your communication with the bank and what you need, and the bank will look at that deal, flushing out with us, and then we're going to make the appropriate decision to support your lending request.
And with that cash collateral, to be clear, our agency actually puts the 40% of the cash in that bank, but it stays in our name, and the funds stay there to be held as collateral against your loan in order that you can be successful with your business.
That's right. So that's a great benefit to the bank.
Yes,
Because
it
as
is.
we all know, banks want deposits.
Yes, they do.
So again, it's a win for the bank, and it's more importantly, a win for the small business.
Yes.
And we mentioned at the beginning that we have two different levers. The credit request, which we kind of went through those programs, and we do have some direct loans. Again, Karen said, and I said it again, we do not want to compete with your bank. We want to partner with your bank.
Nope.
Because sometimes the bank will refer things to us just so they can continue to keep your relationship and put you in the best situation. So our direct loans, once you start hearing about them and we go through them a little bit, your eyes going to kind of perk up. So I want you to perk up now because Karen's going to talk about our microloan program, and you're going to see some things that's very advantageous and competitive in the market right now.
So one thing is really advantageous is the rate, which is 6%. Now, let me say, we are the state. We have buckets of money. That's kind of how we describe it. And we're using taxpayer dollars. We're not by any means a second chance lender. If you cannot get it from your bank, more than likely you cannot get it from here. But what we will say is, this is not a turn down. This is a tutorial. You're not quite ready. If the bank asks you for 15 documents in order to get your loan approved, more than likely we're going to ask you for 24. Okay, that's just how it is because that's just government. We also Government moves like God. It moves in its own time. This is not a quick turnaround. It's a process. It's the hare and the rabbit. We're the hare. And it just takes time because we want to make sure you're comfortable with making the payment on this micro loan. We can go up to $150,000. We do require a minimum credit score of 650. There is a $150 application fee. What did we say again earlier? It's just the cost of doing business. It's the cost of doing business. And this has been expanded over the last couple of years from $25,000 up to $50,000 to $150,000. Now, our chief credit officer, he sometimes will look at it and he will say, you know what? Not comfortable with 100,000, they can afford 80. That's called a counter offer. And that means because no matter what your vision is, you have a great vision, you know what you're doing. But on those financials, we can look at it and see that your business might not be strong enough to support that payment. And guess what? We're not going to put you in a bad position. We want to work with you so that you can be successful.
And I also want to illustrate and highlight, you may have been noticing too on our slides, and I'd be remiss if I don't bring it to everyone's front attention. We do have special rates for our veteran-owned businesses on all our programs. We mentioned the cost of doing business, our fees. We cut those in half for our veterans. And we also, as you can tell, we cut our interest rates in half for our veteran-owned business owners as well. So keep that in mind if you're a veteran-owned business. We have some special rates and special programs for you guys as well.
We do. All right, these are some deals that Terrance and I did under the microloan program, which is our direct loan program. The first one is a janitorial service, and this was actually one of the ones where the chief credit officer decided, you know what, I'm not willing to go here, but I will go here and I will come back. I went back to the business and said, hey, he's offering you a counter offer, and they were actually fine with it, and they're paying fine. So we want to make sure that you're in a comfort zone. And position yourself, and that's what we're going to talk about in the last couple of slides when we get to the end, is to position yourself now when you want funding later. Don't wait until the last minute to position yourself earlier.
Definitely, that is so key. Always position yourself before you need capital.
Yes.
Not when you need capital, because things look
It's too late then.
things look a little different when you actually up against it and you need capital. GTT commercial tires. I love this illustration. This business, short thing makes things real short. They do commercial tires and they do outfitting and they have 3 locations. You heard me. They have 3 locations, one in Richmond, one in Petersburg, and one in Portsmouth. So they're kind of expanding and growing. Well, they need some specialized equipment, right? And they came to us for a direct loan for the specialized equipment. We were able to take care of that for them, and that was very, very successful. And have you heard me earlier? I mentioned that you can take advantage of 2 programs. So also with GTT, commercial tires, through their bank, they reached back out through their bank and they took us to their bank and they had a line of credit with their bank. Since they're expanding and growing, they want to also buy other specialized equipment in the other locations they had. So they want to increase their line of credit. So they came back to us almost like a month later, actually. And we was able to support them with our loan guarantee program. So it made the bank feel real comfortable, open up their line of credit so they can do more growth and more strategy. And also in this opportunity with them, they were able to hire some people. So they had job creation, they got the specialized equipment they need, and they also make the bank feel comfortable increasing their line of credit. So again, take advantage of our programs when it's appropriate, and also your banker will look at opportunities too to maximize our programs as well.
Okay, this is our child care financing program. Now, sometimes people miss some of the things I say, so let's stick with this. Put a 2 in the chat. Put a 2 in the chat if you are a child care provider. Put a 2 in the chat if you know a child care provider. Put a 2 in the chat if you have a grandchild, niece, someone that you know that's connected to a child care program. So with this, I manage a $4 million fund for the Department of Education because they're not lenders. This fund is only for child care providers. You can have a center or you can have a home provider, be a home care provider. To $250,000 for the center, up to $25,000 for a home provider. This is at a 0% interest rate. Now make sure when you get off the call, stick with it. This is the only one that's at a 0% interest rate. There's still the cost of doing business. You will have application fees with this, and it's very specific because I manage this fund, even though we all do the loans, I manage this fund for the Department of Education. It can be used for cots, cubbies, cribs, playground equipment, and as Terrance was talking before about the expense of some of the things. playground equipment is very expensive. So can you be used for I have to have invoices. You go through a special training to understand a little bit more proficiently how to operate the business. So it's a really in-depth program, but that's some of the rules that how they want us to guide the program. And that's what we do. Let's show some of the pictures. This is some of the work that Terrance and I have done. The playground that is all the way to, I guess, my left and your right. That a piece of equipment cost over $100,000. Now, just so you will know, even though you may not be a child care provider, they are governed. This is one of the heaviest regulated industries that I have dealt with in my 30 plus years of being in the financial industry. But when we think about it, these people are raising our future. They are raising citizens of the future. And we want to know that when we go off to work, that our children are safe and they're happy, they're healthy, being fed well, and they're learning. So it's important for that equipment to be safe. The other piece of equipment was a little bit under 100,000, but their equipment is very expensive and it costs a lot to operate the business. But it's like just a real pride for me to work with this program. And Terrance and I both have done deals with this program.
Definitely. Karen is our in-house resident of expertise when it comes to child care program, but we all touch all programs. And one of our other programs is direct loan program is what we call our economic development loan fund. Economic Development Loan Fund. Now, I'm going to briefly breeze over this one because this one is very unique in this capacity of what we actually utilize it for. In this conception, we actually utilize it for economic and industrial development authorities. Every county has one or some type of rendition of an economic development authority that helps bring business to the market or bring business to that county or retain business in that county. So we've used this for quite some time to help those infrastructures continue to grow. But we also uniquely can do some, specific direct lending in this particular program. And so just to jump ahead, like I said, I'm gonna breeze over it. Just to give you an illustration, I think will serve it best for you guys with our Economic Development Loan Fund. This dental company reached out through their bank actually, and they wanted to actually buy the practice. I'm saying it again, buy the practice. So is any small business out there looking to buy a practice or get into a franchise or things of that nature as a small business, we can look at if it's right size for us to use the Economic Development Loan Fund, we can do that. So Boss Dental PLLC, Capital Readiness Dental, the lady was actually retiring. She was retiring from her practice and an up and coming dental practitioner she was looking to expand and grow. So opportunity presented itself. She wanted to buy the practice and reached out to us through her bank, and we were able to support the business practice. And then the bank side of things, the bank on their own, without our support, because they didn't need it, was able to take care of the actual or commercial real estate property. So it's a great opportunity. And the other one down here below is the Hotel Petersburg, was a great project that we did through the Commonwealth of Virginia. We had a small portion to play in this, $30 million infrastructure and commercial building that we were able to put some capital inject into that Hotel Petersburg project. So that's an illustration of a larger deal that we did for one of our economic development authorities in the county. So just want to kind of let you guys know we have all types of programs on the direct side and the indirect side to help you guys to gain access to capital. So when you reach out to us, we're going to talk to you and figure out what's the best way to go about it and what's the best solution, whether it's a direct solution from us or is it better for us students to get your bank involved and have them lead out front. So what we're going to do now, we're going to really get into, we're going to get into that real quick.
1 second.
Okay,
I need to shout Terrance out. No, listen, he's running by this Hotel Petersburg. In the beginning, when he talked to you about our mission to create jobs, you think about a hotel. That hotel has a bar, it has a restaurant, it has employees, there's front desk, cleaning. There's a lot of employees, and those jobs was created all because of Terrance.
Don't say that.
And but that's what we do as far as these projects. We create jobs, and that makes us feel good. It was more than just about a loan. With them putting that whole project together, it brought some violation or revitalization to the Petersburg area, and the event looks really great. And the fact that the people have jobs because of project that we did, and that makes us feel good.
Right. And it just speaks to our mission
Yes.
at VSBFA. I mentioned it earlier. One of our missions is job retention, job growth in
Yes.
the economy, right? So that is what we're here to do. All deals have some type of element of it.
It
Some
does.
deals more than others, but every deal, even if you are a sole proprietor, you create a job for yourself.
Yes.
So keep that in
Yeah.
mind. So we're all about job creation, job growth, and job retention. So thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah.
But again, we're going to just really jump into some nitty gritty stuff real quick. So get your pencils and your pads out there, whatever you're taking notes, because Karen's going to go over high level, just preparing you to be ready for us or preparing you to be ready for your bank. So get your notepads out and take some copious notes.
Copious notes. So right now, what we're going to talk about, this is the reason you're here today, because everyone is talking about they have this product, this program, but right now we're going to talk about what it actually takes to access capital. We heard Samuel speak when he first started saying, you know, that there's an issue. So guess what? Right now, we're getting ready to solve the issue. We're getting ready to solve the issue. These documents that we're going to talk about on this slide and the next slide are what you need to bring to the table. And you might look at that and say, you know what, well, Karen, I don't have that. Well, guess what? It's okay. It means you're not ready, but you can get ready. This is the best time. I told them earlier, I was thrilled that they was having this session in this quarter, because you still have October, November, and December to start working on these documents, so that if you intend on accessing capital next year, going through this list and putting these documents together will increase your success rate so much. So why can't people access capital? Generally, it's because they don't give us the information we need. They will tell us about their mission. So let me say quickly, and I don't know if you have a bakery or what, no pun at you. Just because Aunt Sally can make a wonderful chocolate cake does not mean she can operate a bakery. It's just not the same. It means she is great at her business. A lot of entrepreneurs, if they don't succeed, it's because they are not understanding the financial part of their business. And it's just imperative, no matter what kind of business you have. Your document from the State Corporation Commission, your EIN is connected to your business, just like your Social Security number is connected to you. Now, I'm going to tell you, since COVID, we're looking out on Facebook and LinkedIn, and people say, I got my document from the State Corporation Commission. Guess what? You see where we're at? Step one. I got my EIN from the IRS. Guess what? You're just at step two. You're chucking like the little train. Say, I think I can, I think I can. Keep on coming along. Guess what? We need some financials. That is probably the number one reason why a lot of businesses cannot access capital, because we're asking for your tax returns. Maybe you know you have to have tax returns. But then when we get to that number 4, and we need, okay, your tax returns are annual, correct? All right. But from January 1 to today, we need to know, what have you done this year? No, we've almost gone through a whole year. Where's your profit and loss? Where's your balance sheet? Where's your cash flow statements? We need to know that. And you need to have some kind of system to help you with that. Reach out to your bookkeeper, reach out to your accountant, CPA. Miss White, I can't afford that. Guess what? Here's your tip. Here's your jewel and your gem that I'm dropping. And I've done this before and I know it works.
Mm-hmm.
You can reach out to your community college, whatever college, wherever you are, local, just whatever, and reach out to their career services. Find out if they have an accounting department, and you say, hey, I have XYZ business, and I'm looking to offer an internship to one of your students. Well, guess what? Don't look at it like they're a student. Guess what? They're in an accounting program, and they probably know a little bit more than we know, okay? Give them an opportunity. Let me tell you what the double benefit is with that. You're providing a student with an opportunity for an internship that when they graduate, they can say, no, I worked at this firm and I have done this job. Instead of saying, well, yeah, I have this degree in accounting, but I've only worked at McDonald's. Because people want experience. So you're providing so much value by doing that for them. Unpaid internship, but you're both getting great value out of it. So that's the gem I've dropped for you today, okay? You need to understand what your debts are and make sure that they are separated. Your personal debts need to be separate from your business debts. If you are paying something out of your business account and it's personal, okay, let's clean that up before the end of the year. Let's sweep it up and get it straight, because a lender will look at all of that. Don't make us have to come back and say, well, What is this? Is this a personal debt or is this a business debt? Clean it up so that it's nice and clean. And whatever you do, so let me share this with you. I had an application that came in a couple of months ago. It's 4:30. I'm tired trying to look at the application to make sure I have everything I need. And I get down to the state line and they only have 2 letters on there. I'm tired, I can't think, so I have to use the zip code, put it in Google to figure out what it is. That was a relationship that didn't start off in the right direction. Fill out every line, even if you're applying for grant funding. Fill out every single line. And if you don't have an answer, put NA for not apply or put none. Draw a line. And that lets the reader know, oh, okay, they did forget to fill this out. This does not apply to them. All right. Your operating agreement. We need to know who can sign. If you're going for a loan accessing capital, who can sign? If you have employees, you're not going to have just one of your employees signing on the loan. You're signing, or whoever the owners are. So that's what your articles are. Your articles of incorporation and your bylaws. We look at these things and we read them. It says that you are operating a business and not a hobby.
That's right. And keep in mind too, some of these documents, you know, before we go to the next slide, you're gonna need these things anyway to open up your business account. So not just from a
Yes.
loan perspective, a lot of these items you're gonna already need in place to open up your business account to start that banking relationship.
A 3 to 5 minute pitch. So let's say you have an opportunity. You say, you know what, I'm going to apply for capital and I'm going before the lender. Guess what? Terrance already said it. We need to make loans. That's our job. We want to mitigate the risk. But here's the thing: when you go in, we don't need you to start back in 1919. Here you go. Here's your spiel. Here's your next gem for this page. You ready? Hi, my name is Karen, and I'm the owner of ABC. Over the past 5 years, I have invested $50,000 in my business, and it's grown, and I've done this, this, and this. I currently would like to borrow $25,000 so I can do this, and this, and this. I will be able to repay the debt because with this $25,000, I will be able to do this. Does that make sense? You have said who you are, a little bit about your business. You've said what you have invested in your business over X number of time. I'm talking numbers. That's music to the lender's ear. What I've done over this period of time, how much I've invested, and now what I would like to borrow and what I'm going to do with the funds. That's the main thing the lender needs to know. Whatever you do, don't go in and talk yourself out of the loan. Anybody old enough to know what file 13 is? We used to call it the garbage. Don't go in and tell them the garbage. Don't tell them all the bad stuff. You have a window. Use it priceless and preciously to get your story across. Your revenue. They might ask you, well, they're going to ask you, what's your annual revenue? You need to know. And God forbid, don't go in and say, well, I'm not making any money, because guess what? How are you going to pay the loan back? Why are you even here? Okay. Some people say, well, if I had some money, I wouldn't be here. Well, this is true, but listen, you've got to bring something to the table. No one is financing a dream. You can have a vision and you have goals, but it's important that you bring something to the table as well. We will definitely step up and partner with you, but we want to be in partnership with you. What are your sales like? Be able to explain. Let's say you've been in business 2 years or 3 years and you've never had a loan before. And let's say July is your slow month. Explain why. Well, my sales generally drop in July because X, but they pick back up in this month and this month. Understand and be able to share your financial story. How much do you need to borrow? How are you going to spend the proceeds? And the main thing, lenders are not concerned if you're selling popcorn, paper clips, or pencils. We want to know, can you,
Make the payment.
bottom line.
Yep.
That's all we have for you. Terrance, you have anything?
Well, no, I just want to say that on that, keep in mind, if you heard an element of that as well, especially the seasonality and things, that you always be prepared for loan opportunities. And also, I want to bring to the attention too, just what's an acronym that we
Well,
created. It's called BAIL,
yes.
right? So if you're ever in trouble, if you need something, you always need someone to bail you out, right?
Mhm.
Well, as a business owner, you should always have a BAIL team, BAIL.
Mhm.
So B stands for
Banker.
banker. Always have a good banking relationship It should always start there. A stands for
Accountant.
accountant. We said before, if you don't know your numbers, your CPA should know your numbers. I is for
Insurance.
insurance. You better be protected. Always protect your assets and protect yourself. And L is for
Your lawyer.
your lawyer. You want someone to be able to go over contracts and negotiation for you because you're working on your business. So always have a good bail team around you to help you grow your business, and they know what you need before you know what you need, because they can help put you in position for a loan. We talk about, your annual revenue and your taxes. So your bail team help you put you in position before you need the loan as well. So please keep that in mind when you are looking at opportunities with us or any other lender out there.
And there's money out here. There is
Definitely.
money out here. You have to be the responsible as an entrepreneur to position yourself that you can get it, because yes, there is funding out here.
Well, here's our contact information. That's a QR code. If you have your, phone, you can put it up there and take a snapshot, and it will always, come right to us. At any time, have any questions, you can reach us at the main contact number, or here's our direct email addresses. Again, we're here to service you guys. We're looking forward to hearing some questions coming up soon as well, and help you guys get access to capital.
Wonderful. Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Terrance. That was a fantastic presentation. Let's give them a virtual round of applause for their valuable time, energy, and critical knowledge. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Now let's get down to the second half, the all-important Q&A.
Yes.
We have a few questions in our Q&A box. I have a few questions of my own, but I will start with our participants. The first question would be, how do you register to the list of minority-owned businesses?
Now that would be out of our league. So let me explain something to you. And I'm going to be just candid and say it. Sometimes when people think about minority, they automatically think about Black people. Guess what? We all a minority. If you are a female, guess what? You are a minority. So I would say, number one, that's just an easy fix for you to Google in your local area, that you can find some organizations that you need to be affiliated with, the Chamber of Commerce, your local economic development. There are just a lot of things that sometimes we haven't thought of before COVID that actually can help you. Just like this, where Terrance said, we've been in business 30-some years, but people are just finding out about us. So there are things out there. We appreciate Mr. Wiggins and the office, the information that they're providing today. You can reach out to them to find out what they can offer you in their area and the organizations that they're connected with.
And I want to add to that, take one little step further to get more visibility for opportunities. You can always register for SWAM. Right. And through SBSD, we do have a whole nother department where you can register for SWAM and be small women's and minority business, be recognized as one of those businesses to take advantage of opportunities that may come through the state.
And they do all kind of trainings in each region. I mean, weekly, they're doing all kind of trainings, and they are bringing on people like Terrance and I. They're bringing on people in marketing. They're bringing on, I hired my accountant because one of my coworkers did a seminar, a webinar like this, and had an accountant on. I said, oh, you know what? I need somebody. I called her.
Yep. Great question.
Good
Well,
guess.
on top of that, my chief operating officer texted me to tell me that this question probably also meant, how do they register for the Virginia Minority Chamber's email list? You can go to our website and register, and you can follow up with us after the webinar, and we'll get you connected. So moving on to the next question. Do you accept nonprofits as well?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I've done a microloan for a nonprofit. Actually, it was a theater in our region, and because we never know what business might be a nonprofit, but they actually was a theater and operates as nonprofit, and they successfully was granted the loan. And let me tell you why. You ready? A lot of people set up nonprofits during COVID because they felt like, oh, we don't have to file taxes. But there's this document called a 990. And if you are a nonprofit, you still have to file a 990 form each year, and you still have to keep your financials, because what we want to know, it doesn't matter if you're for profit or nonprofit, are you making enough revenue to service the debt? That's what we want to know. So yes, that's important.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to squeeze one of my own questions in.
Okay.
It deals with access to capital and the barriers. So what are the most common barriers business owners face when trying to secure capital? and how can they overcome them?
I'm going to say the documents, those documents that I talked about. This is kind of how a case scenario will go. Someone will say, oh, I want to apply for the microloan. Oh, well, I'll give you, for instance, I sent out a package to a bar last week. They was inquiring. I sent out the long laundry list of what we needed, and they reached back, and I say, gather your documentation together. When you have everything together, then you can reach back out to me, and I will send you a link to pay the $150 application fee. And then once that's paid, we send you a secure link for you to upload all of your documents. The response that I received back was, hey, I don't have all these documents because I'm just starting out. Well, guess what? That means you're not ready. You need to work on some things, and you've got to put some skin in the game yourself. But the documentation is the main thing.
Yeah, I could concur. Documentation is always a barrier. And also how you present yourself to the bank. Having that relationship with your banker, beforehand is always great. So I always just think the documents are always catch people up a little bit.
And let's talk about relationships.
Yeah.
Relationships are so important. We do a lot of things online. I'll challenge each of you before the end of this year, please go into your bank at least 3 times. Walk inside the bank, know who the tellers are, let them get to know who you are. Find out who the branch manager is, because that's going to lead you up to, guess what? That relationship with that commercial lender. It's just important.
Right.
Walk in.
And just add to that, just like you interview for something, you want to interview your bank and your banker, because you'll find too that some bankers or some banks specialize in certain types of lending practices or industries, right? So also make sure you keep that in mind when you go into certain community banks or nationally recognized banks. Make sure that they are well, vetted in your industry and they lend to your industry as well. So that's very, very key. And that's also key with the CPA you may choose, because you definitely want a CPA that's very familiar with the industry type when they're helping you along the way. So those are some key nuggets too to kind of keep in mind when you're building your build team, and some barriers to overcome when you're ready for lending.
Just speaking you're interviewing them because you're going to build a relationship with them. So I just said to one of my coworkers, had a CPA on a webinar, and I reached out to her to interview her, and these were the questions I asked her. I said, hey, I'm an author. Have you helped anyone that's written a book before? And let me tell you how she helped me. All right. I had to learn that if I sold that book directly, I had to pay sales and use quarterly taxes on that. I wouldn't have known that. I'm a lender. That's not my lane. But if it's sold on Amazon or anything like that, it's a royalty. So those are the differences and the advantage of me having a CPA. I also want to know, did she have anyone that she had dealt with a small portfolio of real estate before? Because you might have multiple businesses. I wanted to know what she had an appetite for, and we worked it out. You don't eat at McDonald's every day. That means you eat at different restaurants. So it's okay to have your one CPA, your one bookkeeper, but with banks, you want to check around. Everybody can't afford to be at a large bank. So that's why you want to vet the banks.
Wonderful. Thank you. So my next question, the next question in the Q&A list. Does your child care program provide funding for professional development or tuition for employees?
No, that's a great question. It's for the safety, wellness, and health of the children. Cots, cubbies, cribs, vans, anything that will keep your business open. Now, the professional development is offered through Child Care Aware of Virginia. There's no cost for that. There's actually a slot on my application that you have to check. You have to go through that program as part of the application process. I can't process your application until I know you've gone through that. And with that, they're going to talk to you about cash flow statements, profit and loss. They're going to talk to you about the financials of how to run the business part of your business. They are a wonderful organization, and we partner with them. But that's that's free, offered by the Department of Education. There's no charge for that I know of.
Wonderful. The next question from Ravi. Ravi, they actually put their email ID on their presentation, including a QR code, but we're going to provide both of their email address. Oh, they're doing it again. Great. We're going to provide both their email addresses to you after the webinar. So just stand by. You can get it now. You can get it later. I will probably do both. So, all right, moving on. And Next question is, will you please share a video recording of this? Yes, we will actually have a video record. The recording of this video of this webinar will be on YouTube and our social media and probably on our website. So stand by. We always promote everything. So after this webinar is done, we'll be promoting it and the outcomes on our social media. So just look forward. On to the next question. From Dr. Jessica Howard. I'm going to start naming you people because these are great questions.
Thank
Just
you.
to be clear, we're about to work with VSBFA to purchase a commercial space for our business.
What was
So,
the-
Dr. Howard, is there more to that? I mean, can you type up a follow-up, or is there any additional information you wanted about that?
Or was that a
Or-
Yeah,
statement?
yeah, I was like, is
Yeah.
that a statement? Was
That
that
statement had
a
a question mark on it, so I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
We'll circle back. Dr.
Oh,
Howard, if you want to add on to that, just throw it in there, and then I'll circle back to you, okay? All right, Ms. Hinton. Her question is, I consult small businesses in Virginia and North Carolina and appreciate this information. Is there also a similar program in North Carolina?
now I would not know that because we know we're just really unique. But here's the thing: is she saying she is in Virginia?
She does consultation in both Virginia and North
Okay.
Carolina.
So if she is operating in Virginia and paying taxes in Virginia, then yes, we can work with her, but she can be doing business anywhere. But I can't say that something is in North Carolina. I'm not sure about that, but I would certainly do a Google search or check with. I would check in North Carolina with the small business development centers. They are all over America, and they maybe could tell her if there's something similar in North Carolina.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like a job for AI. So, moving on. From SE Day with FSBO, who is the NOVA representative with VSBFA?
Yeah, I know representative is Don Jacubet. And once you reach out to us, we can forward you on to his contact information, but he covers Northern Virginia. Again, we all can cover any particular region, but he does specialize in Northern Virginia. So that's his information. Well, that's his name up there. We can pass on his information. Once you reach out to us, we make sure you get his direct contact information.
Fantastic. And Ms. Hinton, I will read this because it's not a question, but I'll read it because you said you put the magic word in there, free. She said, FYI, her company offers a free consultation to review loan package documents for small business. So, Ms. Hinton, hit us up on our website and we will put your information on social media since you're offering free consultations. Now, let's move on to one of my questions. My favorite thing, my questions. So, back in the access and barriers to capital sector, how can business owners position themselves to be more funding ready?
How a business position themselves to be more funding ready? I
Yes.
think it would go back to actually working with your CPA, and make sure that, your annual figures and, your performance, and your projections are on par. So you can be ready when it's time to come to turn those documents in for a loan. Because we're going to look at that. We're going to look at, can you make the payment, keep it in layman's term, your cash flow. We're going to look at those certain debt coverage, meaning can you make that payment, right? And your CPA is the primary person to make sure your financials are in order to prepare for us or for your bank or whomever. So again, I always lean back onto that person, or and if you are that person, people use QuickBooks, things of that nature, getting that technical assistance to make sure your financial revenue and things are in place. So I would just say start there to make sure you're ready for that. And I don't think there's anything to add to that other than,
Well, also the fact that the relationship,
yeah, other than that.
don't just go see your CPA or your accountant once a year when it's time to file your
Yep.
taxes. Right now, before this week is out, and that's tomorrow, okay? If you think you want to apply for funding next year, you need to have a conversation and say, hey, I'm thinking about applying for access to capital next year, so they can position your books for
Yep.
that. Because sometimes businesses will come to us and they maybe have a $10,000 loss. And there's nothing for us to put back. All we see is, okay, well, you had a loss. There's nothing there to make a payment. However, if you had that conversation with your accountant, then there might be some depreciation over here. There might be some things that can be added back in
Right.
that we can see, well, oh, it looks like you had a $10,000 loss, but you really had a $15,000 profit. And then we know you have enough to make the payment. Conversations and relationships.
Right. And we try our best too, when we look at a deal, to find those add backs. When we underwrite them, we try our best to find those add backs for you. But as you know, as a business owner, people want to write off a lot of stuff, right? But again, to position you, and if your CPA knows, hey, I want to buy a van next year. All right, let's forecast that to make sure we are not writing off as much, so we can show them more profitability on your books. So again, that relationship and talking in advance, like you said, even starting tomorrow. Hey, I'm trying to buy something in 2026. What are you trying to buy? Let's make sure when we file your taxes, the taxes are appropriated throughout the year to make sure things are lining up, so you can look a little bit more stronger on paper.
Because the
right?
one thing for sure, if the cash doesn't flow,
The deal don't go.
That's a great line. I love it. And that's great advice. So, in that vein, what are some other steps a business owner should take if they want to explore funding options for next year, for 2026?
just that same thing to position themselves. And then also, listen, I encourage you, if you are an entrepreneur or even if you're just starting up, you have to have a business savings account. Now, on a personal level, we always look at, oh, having the emergency fund. As an entrepreneur, you have got to have an emergency fund. A lot of businesses, unfortunately, closed during COVID. Why? Because they were week to week. They get their funds in, they pay their employees, they pay their bills, and they're back at zero. And then if you miss a week, it's like everything's gone. So just start somewhere and being consistent. That's one thing I've learned about being in the financial industry or just being in banking. Over the years, it wasn't about the amount all the time, the large amount. It was just about being consistent. Listen, for yourself, if it's just $50, you might say that's not a lot, but if you're putting $50 away every week, think about how that can add up. That if you do have some kind of emergency, and also that looks good when you come to us because this is thing called a personal financial statement, and that says what your net worth is. And we're looking at a global cash flow analysis. I'm not trying to get way out here, but the first thing as an entrepreneur, we're looking at, can the business service the debt? Meaning, can the business afford to make the payment? But because you are the entrepreneur, we're looking at you. You might have a job and a business, and guess what? That's favorable in the eyes of a bank because we're like, okay, they have income to take care of their personal debt, and also it gives you some net worth. Just because you make $1 million does not mean you are a millionaire. If you spent $1,000,001, then you're still in the red. All right. So just getting yourself together financially, because a loan is not always the answer. It's it is our job to make a loan. And if a lender tells you no, then go back to the drawing board and see, hey, I've got 5 subscriptions that I'm paying monthly. Can I cut out 3? Can I cut out 2? What do I really need to put that extra money back in my revenue?
Right. And just to add to that, Karen was kind of alluding on, just keep in mind when you are applying for a loan, a business loan, you're going to be a personal guarantor.
Yes.
So being a guarantor, if you're 20% owner in any business, 20% owner in any business, 9 times out of 10, the bank, and of course we will have to have you as a guarantor of that debt. So what does that mean? You need to have your personal credit and house in order. As you mentioned before, personal financial statement. We're going to look at that as well to see your net worth and what other secondary or third levels of support you may have out there when we're making that credit decision. So getting your personal house in order, your personal credit score up to par. We showed you earlier, we have a minimum of a 650. And some banks have 700.
Yes.
Right. And so make sure you a strong guarantor when you're looking at those things. So that's another great thing to do to prepare yourself, is prepare yourself personally
And the credit.
and your personal credit, because we're gonna look at that.
Yes.
How you take your personal credit is an indication, it's a window seat into what you may do for your business. Think about it. If I'm gonna lend you some money, are you gonna take care of your personal, or are you gonna take care of this commercial property? You're gonna make sure your personal home is intact. So if you're not taking care of your personal home, it's gonna be real hard for someone to say, I'm gonna lend you some money on a commercial property, all right? Because you're definitely not gonna pay us before you take care of your home. So again, make sure your personal house is in order, because you will be a guarantor on any loan that you have when it comes to business lending.
Wonderful, thank you. And I think we have time for one more question, and it's from Kadis Ibn Ezer. Hopefully I said that right. The loan interest calculation, is it simple interest or compound interest?
That depends on the bank and that depends on the entity. But let me tell you, that's a beautiful question, but we don't even need to go that down in the grave like that. Because if you can get the loan for your business, start there. When you get to the calculations and you want to know in depth like that, it means you have been consistent with putting funding away for yourself. And guess what? You can borrow from yourself. That can be done and it is legal. Now, I'm not a CPA, not an accountant, but you talk to your accountant because you have to pay yourself interest if you do that. But you want to do compound interest if you're borrowing from yourself because you're going to pay back more, which means you're earning.
Right. Every program or product is going to look different.
It is.
You know, it's going to be depending on what the bank can do, depending on what we can do. Some of our programs, it depends, case by case, can be interest only, principal and interest. If it's compound or simple, but great high level question.
Yes.
But to Karen's point, it will depend. It's going to depend on what program or what product
And the institution.
and institution.
Wonderful,
And
thank
also,
you.
you want to know if you are more so than the borrowing side, you want to know if you have money in a savings account or certificate of deposit or invested somewhere. How are they paying you? Are they compounding daily, weekly, monthly, or annually? That's money that they're paying you for using your money. That's a more important question that you want to know. You want to make sure that you're getting paid the best rate and at the compound that will benefit you the most. So that was a good question.
Well, that's a great note to end on, a deep dive. I love it. So we're now at the end of our webinar. Hey, thank you again, Karen and Terrance, for everything you've done, for being with us today. And thank you, our participants, for joining us today.
Yes.
As Karen and Terrance indicated, please don't hesitate to reach out to them for additional information or assistance. They're eager to help, as you see. Also, Bill,
I'm sorry. I'm so saying, I want to say this, I
sure.
do want to say, most lenders cover a region. When we worked at the bank, we covered a region. You saw the large area that Terrance and I covered. And we do have a lot of people that reach out to us. So email is the fastest way to reach out to us. We need you to be patient because government is like God, it moves in its own time. We can work with you, but you have to be patient with us as far as getting back to you. But email is just the fastest way to connect with us. And we look forward to you all connecting with us.
Fantastic. I thought you were going to say the government moves in mysterious ways.
It does.
Well, also, you'll see a survey pop up at the end of this webinar. Please feel free to fill it out. It'll help us make our future webinars better for you. And you'll also see a link emailed to you if you missed the survey at the end of the webinar. And remember, our next webinar in our series will happen on November 20th at 2 p.m. It's titled, Is Your Business Ready to Explore Credit? And now we jump to banks for that information. Our presenter will be Mr. Rashard Todd with City National Bank. If you have any other questions about our events, feel free to go to our website, vaminoritychambers.org, and you can find out everything about us and all the resources we have to offer. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all.